I talked to the neighbor,
Mhm.
I mean, I know her real well. And she didn't say anything about the property being.
My mother's.
Okay,
Touched.
we are good now.
Okay, let's stand up and say the pledge of allegiance to our flag. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okey dokey.
We used to take 4 big ones down.
So let's get started. I guess I will start off with what we talked about today.
Sure.
I got I didn't recognize until yesterday that we were actually that there was a proposal to change the density from using net developable acres to gross acres. And then I that was never in my head that way. You weren't at the meeting where we discussed it. It was the August meeting.
Yeah, I think my input all along is whatever is industry standard. Is really what we.
So there isn't that, I don't think.
So at the trustee meeting.
Yeah.
We provided all of the field trip communities. We researched those. All but 1 or 2 of them use gross density.
Okay.
And I think that the main thing is, I think we should all, what I wanna have happen, I had it opposite in my head. And I looked back at the transcript of the meeting and we did not agree to that at that meeting. But that said, I think that what we should do is come together and say, can we support that now or not going forward? So. My understanding from reading a little bit more about it too, and you can help me out with this, is that. Gross is something that's typically used when you're looking at larger parcels. And it's kind of net is something small, is that?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that. What I would say is that. The way I was trying to explain it this morning to you is that. If we. Utilize gross. In the overlay district, I think that will allow them to cluster. The density in certain areas of a tract of land. To preserve things like trees, stands, etc. Because in an overlay district, there is no negotiation. If it says 3 dwelling units per acre, it is 3 dwelling units per acre across the entire tract, so it can average out. But if you start subtracting out, 50 acres of trees, because you have 50 acre, you have a 100-acre lot with 50 acres of trees. And you can only do 3 units per acre on that 50 acres. Then you've lost 50 acres of usable land.
That's right, but I think, so you have, that's my thing. I'm not sure that's a bad thing.
I mean, I'm gonna ask them the question. I'm gonna.
The acreage, either net or gross, is the denominator. So if you have a smaller. You actually create a higher density if you use gross than if you do net.
So but I think it's an equity issue.
Okay,
So if you have 100 acres and 50 acres is trees,
right,
and you can do 3 units per acre on the net,
right.
then you're getting 150 lots, right? On 50 acres of land. But if you have 100 acres and only 20 acres of
Right.
woods, then you're getting much more density, and that developer is gonna say, you're treating me differently than you're treating this.
Well, but the calculation for net should be the same across the board, so there's not an inequity created as long as you use the same standard.
But
For how you calculate the net.
when it's trees.
Okay, when it's trees.
That's the concern, because you can still knock those down.
Right.
And build.
Right.
When it's floodplain, I get it.
Yeah.
Cause you can't really build easily on
So
floodplain.
our definition for net has trees.
Trees.
And so what we're saying is, and I get that. I just wanna make sure that everybody in here understands,
Well, I guess I got lost on that last piece.
yeah,
Our calculation of net excludes. No, I'm sorry, our definition of gross excludes floodplain.
No, gross would be, just if you have 100 acres, it's times 100,
even if it has a road through it.
even if it has a root there.
So, because it's the denominator, it really does change the allow, and so I guess where I'm trying to. I think we need to go around the room and make sure everybody.
Well, I'm reading the strategic priorities.
Right.
the- What aligns with, cause I mean, if we're trying to maintain the rural look. I feel like we would. I feel like I would support more of a net calculation than a gross calculation, because in your example, I would rather only have. 50 versus
I get that, I totally get
150.
that, I understand that the less number of houses is gonna be more desirable.
Right.
To the community,
Because they can,
I understand that.
they can file for a. My brain's not working. They can file for a
They
variance,
would.
right?
Not for density and the overlays, no.
But they can use a PUD, and this is where
They
we
can
went
use a
before,
PUD.
so the PUD has net. But they can negotiate the
A higher
density.
density. And so
Okay.
I walked away from the previous meeting thinking we were going to use net in the PUD because they could negotiate a higher density. But we were gonna keep like the recommendation of 300 of gross acres for the overlays. And that is not how Maureen said it really came across at the last meeting.
At the August meeting.
At the August meeting.
At the August meeting.
You were referring to this piece of paper, where did you see that on here?
This is number 10.
Okay.
Change density from using net developable acres to gross acres. And it just slapped me in the face, because in my head, I was like, and I went back and I looked at it and I said, so we're not changing. And everybody said, no, we're not changing. And then,
And I thought they were saying we weren't changing the recommendation that was in the plan.
but this was before this plan was out.
Okay, it was.
Yes,
Okay.
it was August. We
Okay.
didn't have this until
Okay.
this came,
But that recommendation's been in the very first draft.
the changing the density.
Yeah. It's
Then
been
I-
all the way
And
back.
you know what? I just saw that now.
Yeah,
For some reason, I
it's
honestly,
been in there since
and
the
when
very
we were
first
talking
draft.
about it. Sorry,
Yeah.
did anybody else note that?
Well, I didn't really, like I said, like we were talking about last time, I guess my mind was in that thought process that we were in. That it was net, and we decided that everybody was like, well, we can. Let them try to change it. And keep it net and leave it so it's fewer. But, that was the understanding that I had, but, or the thought that I had.
That's what I was understanding I had too.
But
So your guys, I wasn't at the meeting, so your guys' understanding was. Keep it set and let them file for a variance.
that was what I was.
That's what I.
So
that's
So
what
we
I
all
thought
got the
it was,
same,
yes.
because I don't think we knew that we all
then
missed
can-
it.
Then we can change it back. But that's not how I understood, I apologize.
We just need to make sure that everybody's on the same page, because it's our
And
recommendation.
there's two different setups that you thought that maybe. The gross and net, because you have overlays and. What was the other version that you said, PUDs?
Mm-hmm, name districts.
So. Does one affect somebody's a developer different than the other?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Like in a. In the overlays. The overlays. The builder looks at, hey, I'm gonna purchase this plot of land, and in the overlay, this is in the overlay, and it says that it's net.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference between that and you said PUDs are different?
So you can negotiate with a PUD. So develop, because it's an actual rezoning of the property. So they would come in and say, I really wanna do 6 units an acre over here. And I'm gonna do 2 units an acre over here, I'm gonna average out to, whatever that is, right, yes, ish, yeah. And they can negotiate that with you. With the overlay district, it's set. there's no negotiation, because you're pulling down a cloud that has standards to it, and you cannot go above that standard. So,
So is the. By. By choosing to stay with net. Is three a reasonable number?
That
Is
is where
there a
we started in
benchmark?
August.
Yeah.
three units anchor, that's what's in the overlay today,
Okay, so,
yeah,
but what's in there today is per, by gross.
by a net, and what.
Today is 3 net,
Mhm,
yeah, okay,
mhm.
well, I think we're only just.
Yeah.
Swirling around the reason to keep. To move to net.
But we're on now, we currently.
To keep it, to keep it net, take it out of the draft plan as gross.
Because what would happen is. That I understand I understand the protection of trees, I do. But. So you weren't here the last meeting when we were talking about protecting large stands of trees. And Holly had and Kelsey had some great photos of like setbacks that had trees in them versus setbacks that don't have trees. And protecting trees is really something that should be a high value, right, in the, to keep the.
What we want.
To keep what we want here. And so some of the discussion was around if we are on net and trees are included in the, they're taken off, so we start with gross, we take trees out. So you have 2 acre stand of trees, then you end up with only, whatever, number of acres, 2 acres less, right? So then you divide by a smaller number, so that you get a bigger number on top. And then you, what, a higher density, which then is harder to meet the density requirement. And so that's. I think I understand the reason to go to gross, but I don't think that we.
I don't think you're gonna get any, and I told the zoning commission this back when they did it.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's gonna be incentive to pull down the cloud using that.
Yeah, and I guess that's the question, I thought about that too, so we're incenting people to pull down the cloud. Because what reasons, what are the reasons we want to incentivize pulling down the cloud?
To ensure they're part of an NCA or a JED, because that's a requirement.
So
to-
let's back up, so if you go PUD, they don't have to be part of the.
They can make it a requirement as part of that negotiation. But yes, that would
They
be
in zoning.
zoning and trustees, because it would go through that whole process. The overlay district was really put in place to try to be competitive with the adjacent neighbors. Since we are talking with the adjacent neighbors now, that may not be as big of an issue. So.
So I think we have to kind of decide what it is
Yeah.
we want to recommend, yeah.
I mean, I truly, my gut leans towards that, not being gross, but that's continuous. I think as I think what. Not necessarily what I think, what I want. Access. Not really all what we want, is what. Township people want, so they want. As light of development. Yes. And as least as the dense of development that we can control. Without making it something that. Cause if it's essentially unfair, then somebody can take you to court and wants to win that battle, that opens the door for craziness. So then the next guy can say, well, that guy won, so now everybody wins. So there's a balance that we have to reach, and if we think that usable acres is gonna be achievable.
I don't think it is achievable, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
I just don't think it's achievable.
So when we say achievable, what's the definition of achievable? And what I mean by that is what does that look like? What's the goal?
To get to a density that allows the developers to build with the expectations that they invested in the property and when they bought it.
But if they see net acres when they start. And
A lot of land was already split before we even ever did the overlay districts.
Flipped.
When we,
Flipped.
It's
So I'm
gone
gonna
from
back
a
us up.
farmer to
To
investors.
back us up for a question, so we're talking about existing developers,
Mhm.
existing developer owned land that we're trying to achieve something for them.
So they'd be grandfathered in, right?
No,
Since that decision was prior to the change.
no, because it was done,
Change it or net.
but
We're not now.
it was been net the whole time, so we're not changing that on them.
Mhm.
But they are going to say that they can't, utilize that cloud. And achieve the densities that they would like to achieve. They could still come in and do a PUD and request that. And that's fine.
Yeah, I think that's what we all thought was happening.
I think the battle is trying to protect what the people of the township would want to see versus what a developer wants and wants to do. And I think majority of people would just have the hard-headed answer of, I don't care what the developer wants. But, obviously
There's a passion for keeping it rural.
Yeah, there is.
There's a passion for anti-large development.
So the
I
more
would
that we
say
can,
we're not doing, I guess this, and I'm learning or catching up with you guys, but. We're really not representing the people in that objective. If we're allowing for increased density.
That's why it didn't sit right with me.
That's right.
So if we're going to do that, I also have in this latest draft
Mhm.
that we would exclude wooded areas from the definition. That's our recommendation, that we would change the definition of net developable acres to exclude wooded areas. It would still include the floodplain and other critical resource areas, but we had a discussion
Yeah,
about
we did.
if we don't do that, that people are gonna come in and clear the trees before they sell.
that was the conversation.
So I just wanna make sure that we're all on the same page with
I
that.
totally understand that conversation. I remember having that
Yeah.
conversation.
We had that intensely for a long time last time. Yes, we did.
Yes, we do.
And where is that on here? Cause I don't see that. So. All my little sticky notes. That's some calculation.
But in that conversation, we do open ourselves up for the possibility of. Legal battle in the sense from developer to township in the sense that they could try to fight the density.
They potentially could, but the argument the township would take then is go to the PUD, but then. They need to make sure that the township is accommodating.
All their ducks on the road, so that everything's proper, right? Okay.
So we're excluding tree areas, but not flood areas. Correct. Yeah, right. Then that would make it just gross. Right, and we're just, okay, go back. Here, this is what this recommended that net acreage should be retained, but the current definition should be evaluated to avoid unintended.
Yeah, but it
We didn't say trees.
Explicitly, so that. Is that explicitly stated somewhere?
In the plan, you mean?
Cause it's not explicitly stated there.
No, it reads that way. It reads policies, practices, or legislation that currently include tree stands. And the calculation of net developable acres should be reevaluated to exclude this feature in order to prevent unintended consequences.
Okay.
So it does say it in the actual plan, it just didn't say it on that, so
Okay, and I didn't get
it's on page 44.
44, okay. Oh, I hadn't looked. And just was reacting to the gross versus net. Okay, so how do we feel?
Well, I mean, I think that that's a better representation of what. we're trying to do as a group and sense that we're supposed to be speaking. In what we feel that the township
Township law.
people want,
Yeah, no,
Right.
Right.
not necessarily what. The strategic plan of. As we plan, we have to keep in mind of what the information that we collected. In our sessions were, and the overwhelming majority of those sessions came back. And there were, obviously, there's. A higher percentage of people that said we don't want anything to change. Than there were of people that were open to change. And so. The more we can lean to the side of less change, the more we're gonna be better representing people.
Everybody I talked to was less change.
Right.
So I think that was, you know, kind of my goal as doing this is that, okay, well. That's the overwhelming majority of the answers that we got, and that's. When we're teetering on something, we need to teeter to the lesser of the two.
So that said. If we change the definition, we take the tree stand out of net developable. It's also out of the overlay as well as the PUD. Yes,
That's what
because
we're
the
suggesting.
net calculation is the net calculation across all
Yep.
properties. So does that protect trees? That's the question.
As well as you can.
As
I
well as you
think.
can, yeah.
So I think we don't need to belabor as long as is everybody ready to say,
Yeah,
okay,
I think it does as good as we can do, right? And we can't really, you
all right.
can only go so far, you can put rules on
Right.
top of rules, but, you know.
Can't legislate ethics or morality.
So,
I will make this change to make sure that it says net developable for both overlays and PUDs. But I can't make it before Saturday, and the boards reflect what's in the current
yeah,
draft,
that's fine.
so.
Cause you'll probably catch, if anybody can I find that it's, unless you're going over it on a regular basis and. The lack of understanding of what that means to the average person that's not trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
They're not gonna understand that anyhow.
It doesn't have a headache from trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And so,
Okay, thank you, Holly.
Yeah, thank
Okay,
you, I appreciate
Thank you,
your-
guys. It was helpful. We needed to solve that. So I think we can go back to, in the interest of, Chris, you had some really good comments.
Yeah, and then. And I was going by this.
Mhm.
Since. My speed. But then in the plan and in the presentation, I think. You lose your emphasis on just pharmaceutical. My thing is, look, spend some time, we emphasize like Intel, and now Intel is. 2035 and
Right.
so maybe there's, you know, instead of specifically honing in on certain industries. Maybe we just say. You know, clean development projects or something, a more high level. And then if pharmaceutical fits into that, if. You know, pick your business, then if it's in it, that's fine, but. I didn't print out the slide, but
I can share my screen, she's enabling it so that I.
so, but the slide shows like, I don't know, like seven different industrial development opportunities.
No,
On
it's
your- on
in
your-
the PowerPoint that
PowerPoint.
Dana gave us those slides, so let me find it.
So I felt a lot better after having that, seeing that slide.
Okay.
I guess is my point, on that point.
And
So
just
let's do.
kind of piggybacking on that, at the October 2nd trustee meeting, there was feedback. That there were too many different types of uses that were recommended that didn't align with the strategic priorities and the residents' viewpoint. And so we've given that feedback to Dana, but we haven't made any updates to the plan going into this meeting, but we have that as a comment. So. Out to. And then I will draft and then share my screen.
Do we wanna? Do that, or do we, I mean,
Whatever you wanna
good
do.
with,
I'm actually fine.
okay,
I was hung up on the wording on this more than anything.
Okay, so he was talking about, I was gonna pull up the slide he was talking about. This is the line here. Term.
Yeah, it's already industries.
Mhm. For the business campus.
Right.
And a lot of that was designed because of conversations or knowing what industries were targeting New Albany.
Yeah,
So,
Albany and the southern one,
right. It's go Columbus one.
one Columbus.
And so that was where those industries or that type of industry was kind of focused because we knew that that's what was focused on.
yeah, so the way Dana explains it, it's the filter funnel footprint. Funnel. Filter footprint, and so the funnel was one Columbus. Delaware County filters through that, and then Harlan Township is the footprint. So it's kind of from the top down is the way he's explaining it.
Right.
And then he utilizes the one Columbus target industries. Filters through those to give us what makes sense in Harlan Township. But I think, he has heard that there's potentially some other uses in there that we should look at in addition to those.
I think I had a strong reaction to the funnel filter footprint. Simply because I think that we might have innovative things happening here that the township might want. So how do we do that in an economic?
Yeah.
I think that there were some comments at the August 2nd meeting when I watched it. Yeah.
In line with what they were saying.
And I was like, that to me, that makes sense, that you don't wanna just only look at opportunities that are brought to you from Columbus that wants to they wanna entertain international investments and all that kind of stuff. I'm not sure that maybe that would be the way that the township wants to go necessarily.
Are you saying to consider developments that don't go through one Columbus?
I'm kind of considering not, if we just if we only look at what they bring us, is that what we want?
Yeah, I think you have,
Because that's kind of how it reads.
yeah, and I think. Talking about today with the resources had, right, because we don't have an economic development department to. How we're getting out there is one note, so relying on Delaware County, but I think putting together that list of. Other potential opportunities and giving that to them in that way, for sure, but personnel wise takes a lot, and I know from. A Delaware County perspective, since I did work there, we would never just limit it based on. Because they're getting leads too, Delaware County is getting leads, I think kind of more of the whales, so to speak, are coming from that one Columbus, but. If a company or a development approaches Delaware County, they are looking at all available sites and working with the different communities.
Which is great to be on that list. I'm not saying we wouldn't want to be on that list. I guess what I'm saying is that.
You don't wanna exclude.
Well, she says whales. I'm not sure that we'll have too many whales when we think about what the residents want. I don't think the residents want a bunch of whales. They might want some smaller fish, right? Yeah. If we wanna look at it like.
Well, and what are we trying to aim for? So in all the guidelines that we're putting in as to what we think we want.
Yeah.
Why are we saying those? Is that because they're clean? Or is it because they're?
Couple reasons.
One, they are clean too, because that's what is coming through the pipeline. 3, because those are what generate the money to help give the revenue to the township to do what it needs to do.
Right.
I think it's a great idea to put a list together of other opportunities for Delaware County to flag when they get those opportunities. You're like, oh, we would be interested in this type of use or this size of industry,
Right,
so.
yeah,
Yeah.
fine. Yeah,
Do we have ready sites to accept a
No,
whale?
not right now, no, we don't,
I
no.
mean, we probably can't even accommodate what a whale would be asking for.
not
No,
really.
but honestly, I
It would
mean,
have to be a small. It would have to be
It
a
would be a
small
baby
whale. It would have to be the small version of a whale. We're not getting those sperm ones.
Oh, embryo.
Uh,
Dolphin, those are nice.
Basically.
Smart. Oh, yes.
The other thing, and I already told Holly this, is I had a strong reaction to align with One Columbus sectors and sectors and metrics. To me, that came across as, um, you're gonna do what's more dictatorial rather than the next one, which says understand and align where appropriate with that. So I think that first bullet point really needs to,
Instead of the lines, partners or
yeah, well,
receptive to or something.
Yeah.
Softer language.
But softer, but you didn't.
I didn't like the word softer, I didn't for a reason, because we
Yeah.
want it to mean something entirely different. We
Yeah.
don't want it softer, we don't want to just implement the goals of One Columbus,
Right.
that's not what the township wants to
We
do.
wanna be. We wanna be respected and included, right? We want them to be inclusive
We
was.
wanna participate in helping them reach their goals in ways that make sense for the township. Along with our strategic pillars, right?
Yes.
We don't necessarily want to be their feet.
Can we be different from One Columbus? I mean, we kind of forced, aren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know that you can, I think you,
you can make it hard, believe me, I mean, just by obviously not having something that's site ready, you can make it
Right.
difficult,
so,
but.
yeah.
Still are
But
in
then
the
you aren't setting yourself up for
Inclusive.
success.
I
But the
agree.
way
yeah.
that the economic development thing works for the region,
Yes,
you're kind of stuck, aren't you?
So that was my question, are we stuck?
So I think with the target industries, are kind of in a position where you do need to be focused on those, but not exclude other innovative stuff. But I think what you do is you focus on your design standards
yeah,
so that
Right.
it
So do you like
isn't-
what you get?
Yes,
Well, yeah, so if your overlays and your design
Yeah.
standards make it easy for them, then they might pick you, but if you're gonna be a pain in the ass, they're gonna go somewhere.
oh, I was looking at it the other way, that your design standards are making sure that they are set back where you can't see it, but they're.
Right, but what I'm saying is that, yeah, we're dictating.
Yeah.
And if they like what we're dictating, then, you
right,
know, they're still interested in coming to dinner, but if
They don't.
they don't like it, they'll go look somewhere else.
Okay.
and from like a One Columbus perspective too, you're working with site selectors that in some places, they're looking at sites. All over the state or all over the region or all over the country, like they're and all over the world, they're looking for reasons to take you off of a list. So if the design standards steer them away, then you're already off the list before you even know that you're on a list. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, if they are willing to play in the like under the umbrellas that you have set, then they should be a good match for you.
Yeah.
Right, I know there's a lot of money.
There is so much.
I just had another question, so the VR, and I'm kind of hijacking it, because
No,
I
please don't.
really think these are the kinds of questions you guys might be getting, because I'm a resident, right?
Yeah.
In addition to being here. So the ultimately assist in providing so we're on page 33. Is BRE the business retention and expansion?
Mhm.
Okay, it's not the global organization.
No.
Okay, is that, I just want to be really clear on that.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it. It's, I will now, do you want to go to this and just go through this?
Yeah,
Is that what you guys want to do? Just go down the list on this? Because we jumped around a little bit, kind of catching everybody up. Is everybody caught up now? Does anybody else have anything?
I mean, if we're gonna go through the points, I'll just
Okay.
add my 2 cents.
Okay.
We'll go through them.
Put that list up there. And so maybe we don't soften the language if we don't have a choice, because that's how it comes across, is that we don't have a choice. And
I like participate more than alliance.
I like
I do
participate,
too.
so I like participate.
I like that, but. Being involved in stuff like that. Yeah, you tell you.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if you don't want that, they take you to the dance square, don't wear makeup or don't look good that day, don't take a shower.
Alright, so we like participate better than align.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, we don't really have, like, when the whale or the big industry is looking for a lot of land as far as the township goes. We have land available, but we don't have massive amounts of land that are not
Yeah, it's not like we have 1,500 acres of.
skirted by other
Right.
things, so, you know. we do have limited space as far as like a whale would be, so.
We're in niche township.
Like a 2-3 or a tier 2 or a tier 3 type to support the whales.
No, right,
Could be
that's
that
fair.
good spot, you know?
So let's go ahead and get started at the beginning.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any feedback to the future land use map that we put together? Everybody good on that? I think we worked extensively on that.
Good map.
Great. The executive summary, I think that one's probably everybody's okay with. Did everybody? Are we on this?
Yeah,
Let's
number
do
two.
them.
Yeah, we're working on number.
Crossroads Community.
Oh, yeah, okay, I got you.
Need to, yeah.
I'm like Bridget Gap between executive summary.
Okay, then the potential Southwest Business Center, this is probably where there's gonna be a lot of action, I would imagine on Saturday. Anybody have any thoughts about that, or things that we want to
Just
talk
interested,
about?
how many acres are in that Southwest Business Center?
300. It's just under 300.
Is the green houses?
Clustered, it's the overlay, the clustered conservation.
Right. And if I'm looking at this right, the peach color is the
Is the
Southwest
business-
Business District, and then this dark green is.
Is, oh, the dark green?
Yes,
Yeah.
the other
Middle
small,
square.
agricultural.
Yeah. So that was, that map, we got feedback on that. It makes it look like these green areas are like a future land use, and that's not what that is supposed to be.
Right.
It's supposed to be an existing feature. So what we've added language to our map saying that the land use that surrounds it is future land use for that property. So we added that to
That map,
map over there.
okay.
Other small scale agricultural. So what we're saying right now is there's an existing agricultural business at the
Yeah.
corner of Fancher
It's
and.
the Jaeger farm.
Oh, it's a farm designation.
Right.
But the business center is their farmland.
The business center is that whole 300 acres, that's Peach, including the Jaeger property, the great.
So Chris, we did this land use thing,
You weren't here.
So if you look at that, we started with a GIS layered map.
Figure all that out.
I took a photo.
I just went right down here.
Right, yeah, so
So
that's the
that
Jaeger.
blue, that's the farm,
Yeah,
and then the area around it is the business.
Yeah,
It is, but that farm is also included in that future.
it doesn't
business.
exclude that.
It does not
part.
exclude.
It's just saying that the dark green is a
Right.
designated farm right now and that's part of it.
Right. And we clarified that on our map, because that came up at the.
if you wanna keep that, you're more than welcome.
No, I need less paper.
I'm one of those people that keeps it all. Okay.
So, alright, so I'm sorry, just one more clarifying question. So of the almost 300 acres. We're saying that includes the dark green and.
It does, correct.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool.
And a lot of people in that area are not talking about that.
Well, they're scared. They don't know what's gonna go in.
Sure, yeah, they don't.
That's, they
understand
don't
what-
understand, they think it's gonna be a big brick building and.
Scared is a better word than
Yes,
unhappy.
scared.
Yes.
Sure, they don't wanna be backed up to a big, huge manufacturing facility that makes, whatever. They have
Whatever it is.
Hundreds
No
of trucks,
and
hundreds of trucks running in and out.
in and out constantly. They're afraid of that.
Or dirty water,
Or dirty water, yes.
ruined wells, or.
Then across the street, they have cranes going in for sewer.
There's also.
Let's stay on task,
Yeah.
alright?
Okay, so are we, I don't know that we have any answers for any.
It's just more that we know that we're gonna get feedback at the
Yeah,
Saturday
exactly,
meeting.
yeah. And then the recognizing that work and the influence or target aspirations of these entities, we already probably talked about that because I had a reaction to that. Define development ready, which they did, and I think, does everybody understand that? We're all good with that? I don't know that recognize that Intel has been delayed. Cover that again?
Put it in a Trump owns 10%.
No, I did not.
Okay,
The government.
That's kind of scary right there. Well, I don't know if it's the government or not. It might be just, yeah.
gotta do what you gotta do. Update the plan. I'm more concerned about China owning stuff. So, okay, update the plan based on the most recent, which was done, align utility plans, which was done. Reference the potential partnerships, New Albany and Galena should be included, consider Johnstown. Don't recall what was in there for Johnstown,
We just mentioned
but
that
they're a neighboring,
their neighbor meeting and the continued conversation should happen.
yeah.
They don't have a whole lot that they're working a ton of, but I think that they're kind of like a couple steps behind where we're at right now, in the sense of, you just gotta get that feeling with the trustee battle that's going on right now, people are starting to get wound up about it, and so they'll be doing essentially the same thing that we're doing. In the
And
near
maybe it's
future.
something.
Down the road.
There you go. And then we discussed the change to density, we've got that done. Reevaluate, we've done that. And then we also, so Chris, maybe we'll bring you up to date on that, the 20-foot buffer along existing roadways, we had a lot of discussion around that. At our last,
200 foot,
did I say, what did I say?
you said 20, that's fine. So I'm fine with it, again, as long as they can. Whether it's PUD or variance, or they could do whatever.
Yeah.
I would, make them prove that they got a strategic reason why it needs to be shorter.
Yep. Language has been added to page 61 describing future use, yeah, we did that, and did anybody have any responses to that?
Which one are you on now?
Number 12.
Oh, okay.
Did you guys get any real feedback about the center village? I got everybody wanting a village center. Did you?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
I
everybody
think
would
it-
like to see that. Anybody I've talked to would like to see that.
Once I build like square, but obviously the. We don't have the ability to have a square, but. Everyone, all my folks have pointed to, like Galena.
Yeah.
Give me a ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's organic,
Yes.
it's real. And then we don't have to worry about the drive-throughs, I don't think. Automobile oriented uses. Such as drive-throughs would not typically be considered as cottage business, but they removed the cottage business. And we fixed that, okay.
So my only thing on 14, and maybe it's in the lingo, I didn't cross-reference all of the words pieces. Was just, and again, I probably brought this up on a number of meetings, is. Somehow making sure that whatever efforts we're doing. From a demographic inclusion perspective, are looking at. How are we engaging more younger people in the things that we're doing? Because if you look at the population. Demographic distribution. There is a significant influx of younger people moving in.
And there will be more,
And there's gonna be more,
yes.
but. I don't think any parts of this process have really been
Would stop this.
inclusive.
Yeah, I don't think it'd bother them. I mean, if anything is, they're
It's gonna attract.
gonna like it
Yeah.
because of what it is and what we've saved it to be.
Yeah, so I have
Parts and
very,
pieces.
yeah, I have very young neighbors that came to my soup.
Yeah,
They-
no, and
And they wanted to stay the way it is.
Yes.
Now I have a 39-year-old son and a 37-year-old son, they live in the township. 37-year-old wants it to stay the way it is, and my 39-year-old is like, where's the bars and the fun places, he would like to have a vibrant town center, so. But he wants to live in the country.
yeah, no,
Right.
check. So if I can have my Evans Farms, right?
Yeah.
Where I've got a little town center with some restaurants and some fun and.
Yeah.
Some nicer.
Yeah.
Homes
Yeah.
and whatever, and get the best of
As long as I can have a bonfire and shoot a gun.
Yeah.
When I go. I'm saying these things out loud.
So is there anything I need to do for next reports?
Just want to make a point of emphasis to make sure that we're.
But I don't know how to do it.
I don't know,
I'm not sure how to do it.
Well, and you could put all the directives and guidelines you want in it, and doesn't mean that it's. turn out the way you think what you're saying. So, you can try. And, and give it some guidelines.
Younger residents can be tough too if they're chasing the kiddos around.
This is comments
And
on
all-
draft one, what the, I am so sorry.
No, you're on the right one.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Am I?
Yeah,
Okay.
because we took draft 2
Is-
is it changes
changes,
to
okay.
draft 1, yeah.
This whole net gross. Okay,
Sure.
yeah, no, just tired. Emphasizing partnerships with large landowners loses trust with residents. We really talked a lot about that, and I think Christian made a comment in yours too.
Yeah, I think as this thing moves forward, I mean, maybe the recommendation, and not that I'm looking to say that I gotta be on a steering committee moving forward, but use a forum like this and then spin-offs from this group for targeted populations, and let's just say young people, old people, large land use, people that are affected by the Southwest development, and they have a voice, they've got a feeding mechanism through the steering committee to the trustees as it relates to strategic inputs on their specific area of the township.
So are you proposing like a liaison group? Resident liaison?
I don't know, but I'm not sure what that is.
Liaison?
I mean, I know what a liaison is, but I don't know what a liaison group. I mean, I'm just saying little subgroups,
I think subgroup is what I'm thinking,
specific interest group.
yeah.
Oh, of people that can,
Yeah,
can work together.
that can provide input into the steering committee, and the steering committee can feed as a filter to the
Trustees.
the trustees.
In the past, we talked about quadrants affecting different parts of the township, just because everybody hearing about everything can be overwhelming, but of course they wanna know what's happening.
I mean, there.
Like, close.
Yeah.
If you live in this area,
Yeah,
be a part of this, yeah.
Because people will pay more attention if it impacts them.
Right.
Yes.
Makes
And I
sense.
think those people are out there, but it's very hard to get that. To get people to participate,
take the southwest area for that example, they came out when they heard that things might be affecting that area, so.
Yeah.
But
In between.
But that's weren't they Coven Drive?
Yeah.
Coven Drive comes off of,
Red Bank. Mhm.
not this.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's
they
Hartford
weren't,
Township.
but they weren't here for that, they were here for the first draft where the mixed use was being expanded over.
Mhm.
We removed that.
They were trying to, like, that kind of extended here for a very short period of time, and then then you had the upheaval, and then it went back.
We just went back.
Okay, got it.
Okay, we already answered the one about ambulance.
That's the goal, right? You don't like it, speak.
Include more specific information regarding staffing, equipment and building needs for the fire department. That one, yeah, you did that one, and I didn't have a chance to.
Sounds very specific for a strategic plan.
It does.
It's specific information that we got from fire chief from the maintenance department,
No, I'm just saying the request to include it seems
Oh,
a little detailed for a strategic plan or whatever.
I don't disagree, but I think a lot of times strategic things are very broad and they're ill-defined, and lots of things could happen underneath them by design. And then that's where people get uncomfortable, because they get afraid and they want to know the details and the specifics, does that make sense?
Yeah.
I guess the concern I would have though is, as we grow, the numbers that are in here,
The numbers are static, I mean, they're good at the time that you
Right.
print the page.
but then what you can see is what's gonna happen to grow, how much more money. That's the only thing that's the main value I see.
the other thing that the fire chief expressed to us is that setting the stage here helps him with his own strategic plan that the fire department puts together. And that it evolves over time, and that is updated continuously, so it helps him set the stage for him.
Okay. Avoid cookie cutters. We all agree with that.
And we made some changes based upon our discussion at the last meeting, we talked about angling the houses and things like that, we made those changes.
Okay, English, yeah, I remember.
Yep.
Um. we added Evans Farms, Jersey Township, and Molly Field Trip.
Yeah, except for you're saying Jersey's still not in there? I'll check it and make sure.
But, I mean, that's been, but
No, we'll make sure it's.
give the feedback. Check it out.
I'm gonna check it.
And maybe it wasn't on the slide, maybe I referenced it to the slide,
It's in here,
It's in there.
it's on page 86.
or
So,
maybe it's on the slide.
yeah,
I know where I think it's not, I think it's in the beginning when we talked, like, in the actual plan where we talk about what was visited. I think it's on that list.
you can check that.
I'll check it.
Replace Ohio Erie with the Duncan Run photo, but instead they put the Galena Brick Trail as an example of a regional trail system. Yeah, Dutch Holland reference to the number.
That's hilarious.
He gets his name mentioned.
He's not even having- He was like, please. And then, attendance numbers were added, that's great, clearer image. Page 12. Yeah. Is that clearer?
No,
Oh, that is what I got from Delaware County Sewer District.
oh.
That's the same one that you had a
Is that the
comment
one I don't
about.
like?
Mhm.
Is that the best we could do?
We can pull it into GIS and create our own. I just can't do it before Saturday.
No, no, no,
For the
no.
final plan,
Yeah. That's,
I have to run it by them too, because everything they give me, I make sure that that they see it before it goes.
absolutely.
Yeah. It is, this was,
What's that?
I think it is, I mean, it's their map, I don't know, recreating it and all that, it's.
Yeah. Maybe you wanna say as provided by the.
Right, yeah, yeah.
Recommended glossary of terms, we've got that. Okay, and then community investment. Corporations are defined on page 58. Everybody on board with that, understand what that is, know what that is, have any questions about them?
Nope.
Okay. Update the maps with a quick reference, and then new to the draft ones, so. Okay. Anything else? Okay.
I think as Saturday, as we're going like. If people understand the economic needs of the township in the sense of what a. Business park does. And the capabilities of being able to bring in the economic needs of the township to be able to do the things that you need to be able to do. That. Because right now, like if you just throw that and somebody's looking at that and they're like, well, why? We don't need that, you know, we've been operating for years without it. So why do you need that? You need that so that you can generate income. That's right. You need some income coming in so that the township can operate at that higher level, right? And so if you don't have income coming in, that tax base
That's,
coming in,
and we're gonna be paying the taxes. That's right.
then those taxes will be covered by the individuals as opposed to, because the needs are there. So if we can have those needs paid for by businesses. And have the income that we need. But I don't know that. People understand that unless you tell them.
So let's talk a little bit about.
How do you tell somebody that?
So, Dana McDermott is gonna be there.
Okay.
He's going to explain that.
Okay, good.
So the way Saturday is going to work is that it'll start off with a presentation. It's going to start with Adam and welcoming everybody and then going through the existing conditions of the plan. Then it's going to be turned over to Chris, who is going to talk about the process that we utilized with the steering committee. And, you know, you feeding that information into the trustees and the public meetings that we had, et cetera. Then it's gonna be turned over to John Trainer to talk about the identified strategic priorities. Then it's gonna be turned over to Dana to talk about the economic development component and talk about what you just said, to lay the story of why it's important to have these industrial areas or business parks, I should say.
Steel mill.
Um, and then, it's going to be turned over, to me to talk about the recommendations. And then it's gonna be turned over to Chris Herman from NKSK. He's gonna be there talking about how he's coming in from the outside, reviewing the plan to give a third party audit, on it. And then I'm gonna come back and set the stage of how we're gonna close the meeting. We're not, gonna do questions and answers, as a group. We're gonna release the crowd to come and look at all these individual boards. And they can go to whatever boards they want, mix, mingle, however they want to, and all of the committee members and the presenters will be standing at the boards to help answer questions. And then each of these, have a space on them, that have a place you can put sticky notes. So we have sticky notes and pens all around. People can write their comments, stick it on the board. And the way we do it is, at the end of the day, I'll take a picture of every board. I will have plastic bags for each that go correspond with each area, label them, put all the sticky notes into each bag so that I have that for record purposes. And then usually Molly from our office will get that information, and then she has an electronic version of Post-it notes, and she retypes them exactly how they read, and then creates these digital boards so that we can view them as a committee to see how we want to move forward from that.
I think it sounds great.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And hopefully. I've told as many people as I've come across that they should show up, but hopefully people show.
I hope so
To
too.
be able to. Get educated or understand what the. What the plan
Well,
is.
the weather may help, because it's supposed to start raining on Saturdays. They don't have anything else to do.
That's always the big
Right
question
there,
at this time of year.
Yeah.
This should be done by game time. Even if it's noon.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think it's late.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
But I think the not making everybody sit that has to listen to
Yeah.
Joe that yells all the time
Mhm.
and argue that. If he wants to have the negative conversation with somebody, or whatever,
Maybe, not me.
He can have the negative conversation with whoever he wants to focus his energy on, or her, or whatever. That can be done and not interrupt somebody else
Or the
learning.
whole group is.
You don't
Interrupt
want
somebody else.
engagement of that.
Yeah.
Well, and interrupt somebody learning a
Right.
question that they should certainly have about the map or the whatever. So I think that's pretty good.
Oh.
And what do we wanna do after Saturday?
Drink, I mean, what?
So I will let you know
Like
the
Scott.
trustees have asked me. The trustees, well, I should say John's asked me, I don't think they talked about it at the trustee meeting. John asked me if we could have this done by their November 19th meeting. I told him I could have the changes done, regardless of what the feedback is on Saturday, I think we can compile the information and make changes as necessary and have something ready for the 19th. But I need to know how you, as a steering committee, feed into that and wanting to meet prior to that.
I always talk.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
No, Tom.
Joe.
No, I think it's good that we just have to remember what we're here for, and is to collect that information, and if that information's already been had, I don't know that we need to change. Anything that the public says, that information is collected, and that is information that we typically are supposed to be trying to do. And if you already have that information, then I don't know that we really need
We
to
don't
do
do
anything.
anything else, I don't think.
That's
Just
my
making
opinion.
sure you didn't.
No, that's not my.
Feedback is a gift, it's not a man.
Yeah.
Yes, it's mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously, if something glaring comes out that we
Yeah.
missed, then we reevaluate, but.
It's gonna be hard to find something that glaring, I think.
Well, hopefully somebody comes up, I was one person I was talking to, he goes, well. if somebody comes and has a great idea, that's the goal, right? And then, yeah, that's it, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, somebody has an idea that nobody thought of and has a great idea, awesome, yeah, great. So, yeah, that's why we want input, so. I said whether this frustrates somebody and entices them to come into the meeting, or. People just come for curiosity, hopefully it's the curiosity, but. You know, that of knowing what. All's going on,
Yeah.
and that would be great, so. You know, whatever.
So the plan is then. At the 19th meeting, they're gonna approve it.
That's what John wants to know. So I feel like we need to have some kind of recommendation from this board.
I think we should kind of look at it one this
Mhm.
time and say, yes, we are. You know, cause sometimes you see new things and so maybe
Yeah.
make the changes and do a
Yeah.
Are you guys okay with that?
What's the purple line with the dots on it? That goes straight north.
That's the electric line things. This is
Oh,
electric.
I got you. It's like. How am I so like that?
That looks better. And the new one's the red one that goes across. Right?
Yeah.
The blue one, I mean, the blue one.
So I agree that having another read makes sense. I don't wanna have a situation where you guys are all talking to each other outside of a meeting, so I don't know.
We won't do that.
Yeah, okay. Wanna make sure.
No, we don't do
Yeah, as far as like no emailing me, like you can email me singly, but don't talk back and forth. What about? If we have a change, like somebody has a good idea, and I put that in, does this committee want to get together to? Discuss that? Or do we wanna have this committee give a recommendation to the trustee on the 19th?
If the goal, and I'm not opposed to the goal of, let's wrap this up by the 19th. Are we not allowed to have a virtual meeting?
No.
We have to have an in-person. I think we just, let's get through Saturday and see if that's.
See what happens.
If nothing is glaring and it's just
Okay.
edits,
Yeah, positional or shape
then I
stuff, let it
feel like
go.
we could.
Can I get you guys to pass a motion saying you recommend approval with, if there's no major changes, or?
We need to do that?
I just.
We need to do it today.
I feel like I feel like we need to read the fine
Yeah.
before we are ready for that. That's.
So. But if the idea is, and I understand what you're saying. So if the motion would be like a.
If we frame
So
the,
it's a recommendation to present the strategic plan. To the trustees, contingent upon. No major changes coming out of the October 18th meeting. And the acceptance of minor edits after reviewing the final draft.
I don't know if everybody agrees with that, so.
I guess maybe I like to do a final read, but
Well, that's what I'm saying, we're given the opportunity to give a final.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
But he said that, he said,
Yeah,
yeah,
Okay, so
so my recommendation was, if there's no major changes, so we would present the.
so I would
Present the
present the
draft.
final draft to him.
Right, we would present the final draft. It wouldn't be a draft anymore, we would present the document as final. Pending no major changes coming out of the 18th meeting. And the acceptance of all reasonable edits to the final draft.
you know what I'm getting hung up on. There's qualifying words,
Mhm, I agree.
and then when there's qualifying words,
You
you
can interpret it.
can interpret it any way you want to, and so like. No material changes, no reasonable changes, that's in the mind of the beholder. Whereas I feel like the document is the living final product and we have to see it as it is, and that's what we.
So what you're saying is you'd like to have. The final draft given to us, we read it and meet one more time to say yes.
To give the recommendation,
Yeah,
yes,
Yeah.
I do.
I honestly feel that that's the best thing.
I
to do.
don't see anything wrong with that, if we can set up a time that we
When you wanna
can
do
do
it.
it.
If we wanna keep it on Thursdays, we could do the 13th. I don't know about the room here.
Neither can
That's why we have a meeting. Do you need to jump in?
Yeah.
That's
So-
why you keep her around.
So
That's right.
we have to keep it on a
We
Thursday.
don't have to keep it on Thursday. I was just,
I know we're,
15's not good for me.
yeah, and November's a stinky month. I understand the scheduling issues. I think I appreciate Mr. Trainer wanting to, trustee Trainer wanting to have it by the 19th. I also would say hurrying on something as important as a strategic plan. I feel like we've been a little hurried on some of this. I don't, you know.
Well, do we need it to be before that, so that if there is something that we say absolutely not, that's not what we talked about?
well, what I would think is. If everybody thinks it's great, we can just do a quick meeting for you to do a motion.
Motion to,
If there's some big issue, then that's when we say, okay, we need to halt. And we'll tell the trustees we're not ready for the 19th. And
That seems reasonable.
yeah,
And so you think that you would be able to get us that draft by,
I would say the.
or that final
The
document, not
7th?
drafted?
yeah, the final.
Right, Friday the 7th, that would give you guys that week. To look at it.
But we have to have a meeting in person to give the recommendation.
I can ask. It's because you're a committee, I mean, the trustees absolutely have to meet in person,
Is it a majority of the committee needs to be in the room?
A quorum.
a quorum.
A quorum needs to be in the room.
And then, so if the prosecutor's office would say that this is definitely a public body. Then it would be a quorum has to be here, and if you're online, your vote doesn't.
You don't care.
Yeah.
Do we have a quorum today?
Yeah.
What is our quorum?
We made it,
Fairly
We're slim.
we made it.
We didn't make any decisions though, so
No.
Yeah.
we're okay. But we kind of did make a
Yeah, we
decision.
did kind of make it.
So yeah, we did.
On net and gross.
Mhm.
I just wanna err on the side of caution, I
Sure.
just think
I
that,
don't know my calendar. which-
yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
on that. And I'm not gonna know my calendar
Mhm.
till when you send the draft out. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you said, hey, the meeting's on the 13th, I mean, I'm just saying, I can't make a commitment right now to be there or not, so.
We can,
Do the best
I
we
mean,
can.
yeah,
Yeah,
if
just-
you get us you get us that, and if we get a statement from. From the trustee saying. Yay or nay in person, you know, if it's hey, we all send an email that says. I agree, I disagree, and if that's acceptable,
I
Or
don't
if
think
we-
that's gonna be effective.
but if it's not
Here
acceptable.
now, what time's the trustees meet?
7,
Do we meet at 6?
I would love that, that would be great.
They will if it changes.
If there's changes, we'll know ahead of
Yeah,
time.
we'll know ahead of time.
But we set the meeting for the 19th and then we're there when at the
So
recommendation,
we're gonna do it on the 18th.
the 9th.
The 19th at 6 o'clock.
On the 19th.
Doesn't that make sense?
You lost me.
So
Meeting to give change. or
No.
discuss change.
all we're meeting for is to, we will get the pre-read on the 7th, I mean, then we'll get the final draft on the 7th. That gives us from the 7th till the 19th. To say, I'm alarmed by this, and we're not gonna recommend it, but if we're all in alignment on it, then we meet at 6 o'clock on the 19th, we have our meeting, we say our pledge. Chris makes a motion that says, this is our recommended document. We all say,
But if we
aye.
are-
If we're alarmed,
Somebody
then-
sends me if one person sends me an email saying they are alarmed, it's called off, and we need to meet as a group.
and then we don't give it the recommendation.
I like that power. I'm just gonna say, I'm alarmed just so that I.
That's right.
And if someone's alarmed, then the trustees, we don't have a document to provide to them.
Dutch or something,
Yeah.
some language, some other language. So you are, and then. Dutch.
So if someone's alarmed, then we don't have a document anyway, and we wouldn't be presenting it as a recommendation.
Okay,
Okay, so 7 o'clock.
6 o'clock on the night.
6 o'clock on the 19th here.
Here,
It's late idea, Maureen.
they come sometimes.
All right.
Okay,
Thank
thank you guys.
you.
Adjourned.
Good meeting.
Spared.
Man. Efficiency.
I told my sweetheart 4 times that I had a meeting. Like.
Yeah.
4 times he's asked me, do you wanna go for a walk? I'd love to go for a walk with you, believe me.
Been on